Yo everyone, today I will be discussing 5 guy-wire tips that are especially effective in narrowing down the region. Guy-wires are considered one of the easier Japan metas to learn, but many of them can be found in such a wide range of areas that their usefulness can be limited. So that's why I wanted to frame it this way and focus on just a few bits of information that are going to be uh, especially useful. And therefore, this obviously isn't a comprehensive guide or anything. There are other documents that can give you a bigger picture thing. Um, to jump right into it, the first 2 tips both relate to Kyushu, so the southernmost major island of Japan. So this is one of 3 guy wires that are like fairly specific to a single region and therefore some of the most useful. And the Kyushu guy wire is marked by this especially thick bottom piece and the thin top half. But the thing that differentiates the Kyushu guy wires from other similar ones is the fact that this middle piece here is typically fairly flat, so there's a very abrupt connection between the 2 pieces. Where if you were to look at, like, say, the southern guy wires here, as you can see, there's these longer, like, cone-shaped pieces between them, and the difference in thickness between the top half and the bottom half isn't so pronounced, where in the Kyushu ones, there's especially large difference. Moving on to tip number 2 and staying in the same region, staying in the same location. Uh, Kyushu, it is important to remember that Kyushu does not use the standard guy wires. So the ones that, I guess I don't have an example, but the ones that are all yellow and the same width all the way up and down, they're ones that you can find in almost every region, mixed in with all of the more region specific ones. Kyushu is the one region where you won't really find those. So like if we look around here, like here's another Kyushu one. Over here, we have another Kyushu specific one, even though there's 2 wires coming out of the top. So if you were to go around, you would only very, very rarely find a basic guy wire. So that's important to remember, because if you have only basic guy wires, like say you can't really tell exactly what's going on with guy wires from a distance. If you have any of the normal ones, you can most likely rule out Kyushu. One final thing before I go on that I meant to mention at the beginning is that you can find these in Okinawa as well, in the islands. But Okinawa, as we'll continue to talk about, uses such a wide variety of guy wires that it breaks a whole bunch of rules. So also rely on other factors as always. Next more specific guy wire is for Chugoku, which is this region here in like the westernmost part of Honshu. And that is this guy wire here, with typically a slightly darker yellow or more orangish yellow color, with the especially thick grouping at the bottom here, and oftentimes 2, but sometimes just one thin piece sticking way up from that thick piece at the bottom. The And this is something that, as far as I know, is very specific to Jugoku. You can find guy wires that have this shaped thing here, but have a spiral guy wire coming out of the top, or like maybe like the northern ones, it can be known as that as well. Um, and those are more likely found in the north than, say, like Tohoku. But when you have it all the same uniform yellow color like here, then it is specific to Chugoku, and is one of the better ones to remember, because it is not found across multiple regions. The next one is Chubu, so around Nagoya, so Aichi Prefecture and all of the bordering prefectures. And that is this one here. This is another one that I guess I'll start by saying can, for some reason, be found in Okinawa, but is otherwise specific to Chubu. And it is identified by a yellow, like yellow, black, yellow, black. So split into 4 different sections like here. And the bottom half is a little thicker than the top half, but again, like the difference is not nearly so pronounced. And the whole guy wire cover is itself thicker than average. Um, yeah, so we had this one here, and that is for Chubu. So I guess Kyushu is the first two tips, Chugoku is the third, this is the fourth. So the final one will be fairly advanced tip and a little less consistent, but something that is very specific to one region. So here in Shikoku is the only place where there is overlap between the two different types of southern guy wires. And that is something I will show here because this is a location where we have both kinds. So if you look at this black connecting piece between like the bottom half and the top half of each guy wire, this one here, perhaps I could have found a better example, but this one here is like a short cone, and this one is longer. Um, so this is two different kinds of southern guy wires that can be found in different places. So this longer cone is found uh, primarily in the Kanto region, so around Tokyo, and when in the times that you find this in the occasional time that you find this in Chubu, and then also in Shikoku. And this kind with the shorter, like the shorter connecting piece, the shorter cone, is primarily found in Kansai, so around Osaka, and on Shikoku. So the only, as you can tell, like the only place where they overlap is consistently is Shikoku. I think you can find um, the longer one. I think I've seen it occasionally spill over into Kansai. But if you ever find a location like here in Shikoku where you have both of them at the same time, that's um, a good thing to remember where you can probably semi-comfortably narrow it down to one specific region, and that would be Shikoku. And just keeping in mind the two different kinds is also a very useful thing. So remember, the longer cone shape is farther north and around Tokyo and around Nagoya, and the shorter cone shape is more so to the south around Kansai. And then where you can get either one is again Shikoku. Um, and that's all I really wanted to talk about. I wanted to make it a quick video, so that'll be all. I hope you found it useful, and thanks all for watching, and I will see you next time.